Hello, welcome again to Inside the Summit League. We've got some baseball and softball and track and field news and some feature stories coming up, but a wrap on the Summit League basketball season up first. And it was quite a run for South Dakota State University's women in the NCAA tournament. The Jacks were given a 12 seed. They were shipped out to California to take on Miami in the first round. SDSU freshman Maddie Giebert with 19 points in this game, Macy Miller with 18, and the Jackrabbits get their second ever NCAA tournament win, taking down Miami 74-71.
I think I'm still in a little bit of a shock right now. Super exciting. This has been one of our goals for years and years since I've been a Jackrabbit, is to make that next round.
And as the game went on, I think we settled in, and I'm not sure over the last three quarters, percentage-wise, but our defense I thought was really good in those last three quarters. We didn't allow too many easy ones. Rebounded the ball well enough. And hit a ton of big shots.
We had a bunch of people knocking down shots that were very crucial for us, and they didn't help very well defensively, so I just say we got to the basket really well and we were tough.
Just having a confidence in my team gives me more confidence in myself, so just having so much confidence in my team, knowing that they're going to move the ball and they're going to knock down shots, really gave me the confidence to knock down my shots as well.
So on to the second round for South Dakota State, facing Stanford on Stanford's home floor. That's just how they do it in the women's tournament. The top four seeds in the region get to host. Stanford leads this game by 6 at halftime, but the Jacks outscore the Cardinal by 10 in the third quarter. South Dakota State leads by 8 with 4 minutes to play, but then it gets away from them. Stanford's Lily Thompson with a three-point play to put Stanford ahead by 1 with 8 seconds to play in the game. Jackrabbits cannot get off a game winner at the buzzer, and SDSU falls in a heartbreaker 66-65.
This is a tough loss for us, just having that on the line, knowing that we could be the first Jackrabbit team to make it to the Sweet 16, I think, pumped us up a lot, and before the game in the locker room, we were just all jacked and just fired up and ready to go.
Ironically, we were in a real similar spot our first year when we had a chance to go to the Sweet 16 and had the same type of loss. So it's tough. Just really feel for our players. Just so proud of all of them. What a great year they had. Really one of the best years we've had in program history, and that says a lot because we've had an awful lot of good years.
Right now, like I said, it's an awful feeling. And we have 5 of us coming back, and coming into this tournament, we're going to have veterans, and we're going to know what it feels like to play every game and how it feels when you lose, and we're excited for next year.
So South Dakota State finishes the season 27-7. They have their entire starting 5 coming back next year, by the way. Meanwhile, in the WNIT Summit League regular season champion, South Dakota in a first-round game at home against Creighton. And the Coyotes take over in the second half. They get 17 points from Taya Miller in the game, 15 from Kelly Stewart, 15.6 assists from Nicole Seekamp, and USD beats Creighton 74-68. And that sets up a second-round game for South Dakota at Minnesota on Sunday. Rachel Bannum scores 37 for the Gophers, finishes her career with more than 3,000 points. But the Coyotes with the better team attack. 5 players in double figures, Stewart with 19, Caitlin Duffy with 17 points, Seekamp with 18 points and 14 assists. And the Yotes get 36 points off their bench. They roll up 101 total, and they beat Minnesota by 12.
We played one of our best games that we've played all season, and we did the things we wanted to, which was stop their man transition. And I think we also wanted we wanted our bench to step up and do what they've been doing all season, and they did, and that's why we managed to outscore them on bench points substantially.
When you have 5 threats on the floor, it's extremely hard for a defense to stop that because you take one person away and we have another person coming at you. So that's been a strength for us, especially having a deep bench and being able to just bring those subs in, especially against a team that plays really well in transition. It was a fast-paced game. We're getting a little winded out there, but we have people that can come in off the bench and contribute in a lot of ways, rebounding, scoring, just setting good screens, making hard cuts. So our team really contributed in all ways today, just 1 through 15 down the bench. Everyone was helping in some way, and it was awesome to be a part of.
So South Dakota will host Northern Iowa on Thursday night in the third round of WNIT. Also in the WNIT, IUPUI beat Central Michigan in the first round of the tournament and then hosted San Diego on Saturday. And the Jags scratch and claw, but they come up short in this one. 18 points for Danielle Lawrence, 8 points, 12 rebounds for Michael Rogers, but 25 turnovers for IUPUI. They shoot just 2 of 15 on the three-point shot. San Diego ends the season for IUPUI with a 59-48 win. IUPUI finishes the year 21-11 overall.
The kids had a great season. I mean, 21 wins, to go up and beat Central Michigan, who's a quality team, and then to be able to host in our gym was a big deal. I'm really proud and appreciative of the administration being willing to host, and our kids were excited to play here, and we've been really grateful about the support from everybody on campus that came out and supported us.
And Western Illinois playing in the WBI, the Women's Basketball Invitational. The Leathernecks win their first round game against Southern Illinois 99-97 in overtime. Michelle Maher makes a jumper with 3 seconds left in regulation to tie the game at 84. And then in overtime, tied at 97 with 3 seconds left, Emily Clemens to Mallory Boyle at the buzzer for the winner. Great win, and even a better story behind it. All of the players had gone home or gone somewhere for spring break when they all got the call to come back to Macomb to get ready to play in this tournament game.
I was just really excited for our team. I mean, everyone came back from so many different places to play this game, and I was like, I did not leave the beach to lose. So I was just really excited we got the win.
I told the girls in the locker room it may be the WBI, but that is March Madness. I mean, the drama of the game, the big shots, the big calls, the drama of everyone getting here over spring break. It was just March Madness, and they rewrote the story of our season tonight, which is just so cool.
I think there were a lot of questions coming into this game. You know, how are we going to play? Where are we going to be in shape? And I just think we went out there and had the most fun we've had all season. You know, that's what we were going for. We did a great job of that, and obviously there's some people that stepped up huge in the end.
Well, they did, and unfortunately it did end 2 nights later for Western Illinois. The Leathernecks in the WBI quarterfinals, they come up short against South Carolina Upstate, 81-78. Sophie Reichelt, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Michelle Maher with 20 points in the last game for those two seniors at Western Illinois. Well, up next, Summit League men's basketball tournament champion South Dakota State comes back but comes up short against Maryland in the first round of the Big Dance. And Fort Wayne long-distance legend Max Landis will join the three-point shootout this year at the Final Four in Houston.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. March Madness marches on, but the season is now officially over for Summit League men's basketball teams. Summit League tournament champion South Dakota State faced off against Maryland in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and Jackrabbit freshman Mike Dahm with one of the highlight dunks of the tournament so far in the first half of this game. But Maryland was ranked as high as number 2 in the country this season, and the Terps ran out to an 18-point lead in the second half. But the Rabbits rally. George Marshall and DeAndre Parks get the Jacks within 2 with 13 seconds to play. South Dakota State has a chance to tie with a 3 on their final possession, but they can't get a shot off, and Maryland just gets by 79-74.
Really proud of our guys, and I mean, you know, we're just so bad offensively in the first half. I thought we really competed in the first half, and the whole game we competed. You know, we lose by 1 on the glass, 11 offensive rebounds. Shot the ball obviously better in the second half. We scored 52 points in the second half, so we clearly played better offensively. But, you know, Maryland played well too. I thought, you know, they hit timely shots, and I'm really proud of our kids that they didn't give up.
Like Coach Nagy said, you know, I'm real proud of this team. We didn't give up. When I'm guessing a lot of people thought the game was over at one point, and we kept fighting, and I'm just proud of this team.
So South Dakota State finishes the season 26-8, and there were 2 other Summit League men's teams playing in the postseason this year. Omaha played in the CBI and played a very Omaha-ish game in Pittsburgh against Duquesne. It's the highest point total of the season for the Mavericks, but they give up the most of the year too in this game. 120-112 is the final. Omaha scored 80 points in the second half. Devin Patterson finishes his Omaha career with a 37-point performance. Tradeon Hollins with 9 assists, but the Dukes outgun the Mavs, and Omaha finishes the season 18-14. And IPFW played in the NIT. The Dons at San Diego State, and the Aztecs beat them 79-55. That's the third lowest point total of the season, by the way, for Fort Wayne. Joe Reed leads them with 17 in this game. Max Landis with 14. John Conchar with 18 rebounds, but the Dons only shot at 31%. IPFW finishes their very nice season at 24-10 overall. Max Landis of Fort Wayne, by the way, has been invited to the three-point shootout this year at the Final Four. Landis and 7 other Gunners will compete on March 31st. It will air live on ESPN that night. Landis was second in Division I this year with 125 made threes, and that is a new school record at IPFW. Well, up next, Summit League baseball teams started actually playing each other over the weekend. Some highlights from the opening weekend in Summit League play coming up.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. The Summit League season has started now in baseball. In other words, Summit League teams playing other Summit League teams. And league favorite Oral Roberts off to a 2-1 start right now. Rolando Martinez of the Golden Eagles is the player of the week. He scored twice in Oral Roberts' 3-1 win over nationally ranked Mississippi State. And then he went 6 for 10 in 3 games against South Dakota State as the Eagles took 2 out of 3 in that series. In the 1 win for South Dakota State, Landon Bush came in and threw 3 shutout innings in relief. He struck out 5 as the Jacks beat ORU in the opening game of that 3-game series. Bush played 2 seasons at Kansas State before transferring back home to Brookings and SDSU. He has allowed just 1 run over his last 11 innings. He has 16 strikeouts in that span. And here are some carefully selected highlights from the other 2 series on opening weekend: North Dakota State at Western Illinois and Fort Wayne at Omaha. Omaha went 6 games under 500 in the Summit League season last year. But the Mavericks are 3 games over right now after a sweep of Fort Wayne to start the Summit slate. Tyler Fox goes 6 innings, gets his 4th win of the season. Clayton Taylor and Cole Gruber drive in 3 runs apiece in a 14-7 Omaha win in Game 1. Sam Murphy and David Flattery combine on a 7-hit shutout as Omaha takes Game 2 7-0. And Colin Life with 2 hits and 3 RBI in a 9-5 Omaha victory in Game 3. And in Macomb, Western Illinois takes 2 out of 3 from North Dakota State. Drew Fearing drives in 2 as the Bison win Game 1 3-1. Connor Courier doubles, triples, goes 4 for 4 and drives in 4 runs as the Leathernecks take Game 2 7-6. And Western pounds out 15 hits in Game 3, 3 more by Connor Courier. He drives in 3 more runs, and Western Illinois takes Game 3 9-4. Up next, Summit League softball teams are still a week away from league play, but we will tell you about another great pitcher at North Dakota State and see what Western Illinois is putting on the field this year now that superstar shortstop Sammy Marshall is gone.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. The North Dakota State softball team got a couple of votes this week in the National Coaches Top 25 poll. NDSU's had some great pitchers in the last 5 years, Whitney Johnson and Krista Menke, and it looks like the Bison have another one coming along in Jacqueline Surdick. She is a sophomore from Nevada, and she is the Summer League Pitcher of the Week for the 4th time already this season. She picked up 2 wins and a save as NDSU beat Binghamton, Maryland, and Massachusetts in the Maryland Invitational. Surdick is 12-5 on this season and leads the league in strikeouts right now with 91. The Player of the Week is another young player, a freshman at Omaha, Courtney Pock. Hit 2 grand slams 4 days apart. She had one against Nebraska, another one against Montana, and Pock drove in 10 runs in 5 games over the week. Western Illinois graduated one of the best ever softball players they've ever had in Sammy Marshall, a 2-time Summit League Player of the Year. But the Leathernecks have 6 other starters back, and they've got high hopes to get the program back to the top for the first time since 2010 when they won their last league championship.
I'm really excited that me, Tierney, and Krista got to finish out the entire year together. Normally we have like transfers come in or people leave, and we've stuck together the whole 4 years, so I'm really excited about that.
I'm definitely looking forward to just actually playing with my sister this year. That's pretty awesome that she's on the team with me this year. She's a freshman, and like Casey said, I'm just really glad that me, Casey, and Chris have all stuck together for all 4 years here.
Every time I come to a practice, I go to a training session, I meet with the girls. It's just really sentimental every time I put the uniform on. I don't want it to end.
This year we have a lot of freshmen. We have 3 freshman pitchers, and I think they all bring something totally different to the table. I really think it adds to the whole team dynamic.
Our newcomers, our hitters especially, we're going to have a lot of power this year, so it's going to be a very different lineup from last year. You know, we had Sammy with the speed. This year we've got a lot more power, so our game's going to look a lot different this year. We also had 3 pitchers that came in that freshman class, and so that's going to help us in the circle. But I think they all bring a little something different, more power and depth, I think, in every position.
We have 7 newcomers, so I think that if you're just looking on paper, that would be our biggest difference, is having new girls come in. But to be honest, going through our preseason and workouts this fall, you would never know that. The girls gel with each other, we all get along really well, and regardless of the age, I think that we've got a really mature team that's ready to take on some tough competition.
This year's team, as opposed to last year's team, I felt like last year we had a lot of speed at the top of the lineup, so now this year we have a ton of power hitters, which is awesome. Like, all of our underclassmen coming in are really good at hitting, so I think that's going to add some new dynamic for us to have hitting up and down the lineup.
Well, this year I think we're really trying to focus on taking small steps at a time, as opposed to, obviously we want to win a ring in the conference championship, but I think we're trying to take everything step by step as to having a good batting average or a good ERA, so we're focusing more on the smaller things.
I think really focusing on my mental game and making sure that every time I go up to a new at-bat, it's a new at-bat. I'm not carrying anything from the game before or the at-bat before, and making sure that I can just be there for my teammates. I told Tierney and Casey a lot that it would mean the world to me if we stepped off our last game, after we get that ring and we're winning that championship, we're all smiling and screaming, that every person just felt like they left everything on the field. And if I can help my teammates feel that way, if I can help them be that excited, then I think that's something that I'll take with me forever and be really happy with.
Talk a lot about playing process-based, so just focusing on the process and not getting too caught up on the outcome and what's going to happen at the end of things. So if they can just stay in the moment, take the game 1 pitch at a time. We do have 9 newcomers this year, so I think it's going to be, at times a little frustrating for some players, so to help them work through a lot of things in the preseason, but just take it 1 pitch at a time, focus on the process and not worry so much about the outcome, and I think the wins will come and we'll have a great season.
Up next, a runner at IUPUI back on track after 2 career-threatening injuries that could have stopped her for good. And some people will do anything to raise money for other people. Take a polar plunge with the volleyball team at Western Illinois.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Summit League outdoor track and field teams are back at it as of this past weekend. And for one athlete at IUPUI, this year is about perseverance. 2 leg injuries have already cost her 1 indoor and 1 outdoor season, but this sophomore is moving on. Sarah Childs earned the Jaguars Mental Attitude Award this year in cross country, and she is ready to roll now into the outdoor track season.
Sarah Childs is entering her 2nd season on the track with the Jaguars. As a key member of the Jags, you would think that she's always loved to run. But Childs says her brother forced her into the solo sport, and it took a while to catch her stride.
Once you start, you just keep trying to better yourself and as yourself as a person and as an athlete. And running has a really good way of doing that because it just challenges you to keep pressing on and keep pushing on towards your goals.
She found a love for running, but 2 injuries would test that love and put her on the sideline for an extended period of time. In the fall of 2014, she had to undergo compartment syndrome surgery.
It is an excessive buildup of pressure in your calf muscle. What would happen is I'd be running and my leg would go numb, and so I would just collapse.
The recovery took 4 months, and then another injury. The artery behind her calf muscle started to be compressed by the muscle itself, which would cut off blood flow to her foot, again causing her to collapse while running and leading to yet another career-pausing surgery.
For both surgeries going through them, it's really difficult since you're out. I couldn't run, and being a runner, that's basically your whole life. And so it was kind of nice to take a step back from that and just look at the bigger picture that life has to offer.
The recovery process is over now, and Sarah is just getting back in step on the track. She used cross training and aqua jogging to keep her in shape while in recovery, but she credits her coaches and teammates for supporting her through the rehab. It's because of that support that Sarah is back to setting the pace.
If you work hard enough, you can reach that point again.
And finally this week, the average temperature at noon in Macomb, Illinois on March 6th is 42 degrees. And they caught a little bit of a break this year, a little bit warmer than that, but still, it takes some guts to jump in a river in March in Macomb. And so the Western Illinois volleyball team did it, and they did it for Special Olympics and raised more than $2,000 for the cause. Well done. We'll see you next week on Inside the Summit League.